Very warm welcome, everybody, to another Meaningful Monday. And here we are in November. Wow. So, thank you to all the people who are back. Nice to have you with us. And to the new people, extra warm welcome. Nice to have you with us as well. So, tonight I'm going to talk about something a bit different. We've had kind of a lot of theme of the other side of personal development for a while. But this, I have to say, talking about leadership is one of my great passions. Most of you know that I'm a John Maxwell certified coach and trainer. I've met John Maxwell 8 times for a few days each time in Orlando. And I have to say, I joined the John Maxwell team in 2012, and it absolutely changed my life. So tonight I'm going to talk about the 5 levels of leadership. Maybe if you've heard about this before, you want to put in the chat box, or you put a thumbs up, or put in the chat box a Y for yes if you know about the 5 levels and you're familiar with them. Only if you're not, don't, and then I'll hopefully not get too many Ys, and then I know that my time here is well spent, and I'm not holding anyone up. So this content is actually an entire book. John wrote a whole book called The 5 Levels of Leadership, and just a funny story that I'd like to start off with was when he very first published that book. He was invited all over the world, because I mean, everyone in the Fortune 500, every single company has had him speak. And he's actually spoken to every single government from 2004 to about 2010. He traveled the world for all those years, and he managed to talk to every single government in the world about leadership development and whatnot. So as soon as the book was published, 5 Levels of Leadership, the United Arab Emirates invited him. So he went there and he's on stage. They put him on stage, and the very front row had like this exclusive VIP row. And they weren't chairs, guys, they were thrones. They were actual like big throne armchairs, massive, and all the chairs behind were like these ordinary seats for a big auditorium. And here John Maxwell is talking about the 5 levels of leadership, and the more he's progressing through his talk, because they had no idea what it was about, the book was just brand new. I think the more he offended them in the front row, more and more and more, because of their superiority and their sitting in thrones, and they're all about title and position. And really and truly, that's not leadership. Okay. So if you think when you're the one on the biggest chair at the head of the table, that makes you the leader, sitting at that position makes you no more a leader than standing in a garage makes you a car. So let's begin. And by the way, all Meaningful Mondays that are recorded, you will find on the YouTube channel, my channel called Silver Method Australia. Please follow the channel. There's such great content on there. There's over 250 self-help videos, all kinds of things, plus the Meaningful Mondays. All right, so let's begin. If I can only get the slide to change. There we go. So John Maxwell says, now, by the way, for those of you who don't know who he is, John Maxwell is the most successful author of all time in all history of writing about leadership. He's been named the leadership guru for about 10 years in a row by all kinds of sources in the world. He's also reached the highest accolade you can ever achieve of a particular award that they only give 300 people in the world, and someone has to die before they award it to anyone else. And he's written the most leadership books. He's written over 100 books. And his one book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, has sold more copies than all other leadership books combined, if you can think of that. So we are getting this information from a very respected and credible source, and John Maxwell's about 77 or 78 years old today, and he's the greatest mentor in my life, even though it began the journey with him through books before I actually had the privilege and honor of meeting him. Nancy's also a John Maxwell certified team member, and actually 2 other people I definitely know here. I don't know, there could be more, but I know Fabian and Lisa, you're on that path too. So really just a fantastic person, and I recommend anyone here read his books, any book you like that gets your attention. So besides the 5 levels of leadership being a book, I'm going to refer tonight from his other book called Developing the Leader Within You 2.0, where in one of the very first chapters on influence, he actually covers off the 5 levels of leadership. So he says here right at the beginning that leadership is not about titles. How's that? It's not. Doesn't matter your position. If you're the boss, the subordinate, the sidekick, the lowest level, the CEO, it's not about the title. It's not about the position. Leadership, true leadership, is the ability to influence another life. So, in saying that, I want you all to be aware that everybody's a leader. Every single human being is a leader. Now, I didn't say we're all good leaders. I didn't say that. I just said we're all leaders. Some are very bad leaders. Some are very powerful but negative leaders. Hitler, for example, was an extremely powerful leader, but he wasn't a leader of a good cause. He was a leader of a terrible cause. But doesn't take away the fact that he had extreme influence. So just be aware that leadership is nothing more than influence, the ability to influence other people. So what I'm going to share with you tonight is not about bad type of leadership. It's about the good type of leadership and what the 5 levels actually mean. So the very first level of leadership is what you saw on the screen there, where you said it's not actually leadership at all, is level 1, which is the position. So this just means that you've been appointed a certain title. So for a very short period, just the initial period, you do have influence because people don't really know what kind of person you are yet. Maybe you've just been put into the position or title. So initially you have influence, even a parent. So I just want you to be aware, if you're not working in corporate, this webinar is as much for you as anyone else who's working in corporate. If you're working for yourself, even more so, this is for you. And if you're a parent, absolutely, this is for you. So think about it. Your position gives you some influence initially, but that's got a timestamp on it, because once people get to know you and your character, they will decide for themselves whether they're going to follow you or not. You can't command it. Unfortunately, with parents and kids, there's a bit of a longer period there because kids are small and you have power over them and control over them. But it doesn't mean that you're a good parent. You've got to be a good parent if you're a good leader. So as an example, if someone said to their kid, can you please go and do X, Y, and Z? And the kid said, why? And you said, because I'm your father. That's positional leadership. And it's the lowest level. So the lowest level of leadership is position, because all you're really relying on is your right, because you've got this level of authority. Excuse me, just 1 second. Okay. So before I carry on any further, I just want to remind you that leading is not a noun, like a leader. Now, leading, the word you've got to understand, is a verb. It's action. It's through a process. So leadership, the best way for you to remember this is leadership is never about that level 1 position. It's about the process ongoing every minute of every day, even if you're in that position or title. It's the effect that you have and whether people are willing to be your followers or not. So, even with parents, let's go back to parenting. You've got control over them pretty much when they're 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can get a bit rebellious at any age. But there comes a time, I don't know what age that is, maybe in their teens, where if they don't respect you, they're not going to listen to you. Because then you're a positional leader. And you haven't earned the right to continue to lead them past that timestamp because they don't want to follow you if you're a bad parent. So a bad parent is autocratic. Or even a bad leader in the workplace is where you power up over people. As I said, listen to me because I'm your father, or you better do that because I'm your mother, or don't argue with me because I'm your parent. In the workplace, people listen to you in the beginning because you determine their paycheck. You can even determine if they work for you or they get dismissed. So they have to. But as we said, it's the lowest level. And your authority comes from your role. It doesn't come from your ability to influence. And as I said when I began, leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. So level 1 is not effective long term. unless you earn the respect from people and their commitment to follow you. Then you go to the next level. The next level is permission. So permission is all based on relationships. So to get from level 1 to level 2, the way to move there is your goal, if you're at level 1 that is to move beyond relying solely on your title and actually start building genuine connections with your team, if you're in a workplace, or with your children, if you're a parent, or with your friends, your colleagues, anyone in your life. It's to build good connection with them. And how do you build connection? Let's put in the chat box. How do you build connection with people? Come on, guys. How do you develop better relationships? Nancy, I recommend you type something because I'm sure you'll have something positive to say. Come on, type in the chat box, anyone. How do you build better connection with people? How do you get more influence, in your relationships? Listening. Thank you, Meg. With empathy. Did you hear that? Not just listening, but listening with empathy, meaning you put yourself in the other person's shoes. Richard, understanding. And again, empathy. I love that. It came up twice. Okay, Carly, ask questions. I love that. To build good relationships, asking questions is so spot on. In fact, another book written by Dale Carnegie is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it says if you want to make friends, be interested and curious in other people and ask a lot of questions. Listen and ask questions. Listen and ask questions. So definitely in leadership, it's not about the blah, blah, blah. It's about understanding other people. Get curious. There's written in the exact words. Thank you, Sally. Oh, that's Andrew. Sullivan. Lisa, frequency of contact. That is so important. I remember working in corporate in South Africa, and the MD was on another floor. And it used to be a joke that he never came down. I would say he never comes down to the floor of where all decisions are made, all people are working, and like where the rubber hits the road. And that was frequency of contact. He was never there. He didn't build connection with people. He was just really through his position and power. And then when I was in another role working in retail, I remember having a boss, a GM, and I was in that company for several years. And for the very first time, every single morning, the building was like a circle with hollow in the middle, and all the offices were around. I was a buyer working for Pick and Pay, and this GM used to walk into every single buyer's office in the morning, and there were many of us. There were like 30, and he would just spend 5 minutes. It's quite a long time as the GM in every single office. I mean, this is a main board director, and he just doesn't matter what level you were, what you were doing. He'd just spend 5 minutes with you, and that's what Lisa's saying: a frequency of contact, asking how are things going. Listen to the questions he asked. Are you getting the support you need? Is there anything I can do to help you be more successful? These are the questions he asked. What are you currently working on? And then you'd listen. And then he would say, if it was possible to make that twice as successful, what do you think it could be? And boy, your mind cogwheels were going. And then you'd say, I'll leave that with you and I'll come chat with you again tomorrow. And I promise you'd keep me up the whole night. I'd be thinking how to double the impact of this particular campaign or project we were doing. But you see the change that man made. We had the best result in the hypermarket division in a decade when he came in as the GM, just because of the frequency of contact. So Lisa, thank you for that. Spot on. Carly says smile. Yes, for sure. Navid says compassion. Absolutely. Dewey, show them you care. Well, Dewey, spot on. Those are the words of John Maxwell. John Maxwell says, maybe you want to write this down. This is probably the most important line of leadership. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I'll say it again. Write it down if you're making notes. People don't care how much you know. All your degrees, all your experience, your CV, your resume, your accolades, your awards, people don't care. They really don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. When they know you care, of course they'll pay attention to all those things about how much you know, and they'll respect you and they'll listen to you. But they have to know you care first. So Dewey says, show them you care. Thank you. And active listening. Definitely. And then, yes, to be interesting, be interested. Great. I'm not going to carry on with this. We're going to move on. But thank you for those participations. I really love that. Okay, let's talk about relationships. We've said everything. People follow you here because they want to follow you, not because of your title, not because of your position. So forget about titles now and just think of being in your life at some point in a boardroom, even in a classroom, at school, or in a boardroom, or in a family setting when there's like the larger group of the family. If you think about a boardroom, sometimes the boss is talking and people are kind of, just being blank. But someone without the title says something and everyone listens actively and everyone agrees. Same in a family. Some people never have any influence and one person quietly will speak and everyone will be quiet. They will all listen and they will want to agree with that person. Say, yeah, I agree with you. And that is true influence. And that is because they've built good relationships. So people actually like them. They follow them because they actually want to follow them. There's a level of trust, capital Trust. Trust is the foundation of leadership. You want to write that down. Trust is the foundation. So if you break trust with your children, break trust with your friends, break trust with your colleagues, you lose your influence and you lose your ability to lead. I'll say it like this. You use your right to lead. It's not that it's a right, but you earn this right to lead, this permission that you have that people will follow you if you break trust. Now, if you break trust, you can build it up again. You can. However, you can't keep breaking trust because that won't work in the long term. But if you break trust once, what's the best thing you can do? Some people run and hide and never mention it again. Don't do that. If you break trust, the best thing you can do to build your trust back is to fess up in front of everyone and say, admittedly, I was wrong. I made a mistake. I apologize and make right. But then don't ever do that again, and you can honestly build trust back. Listening well, people have mentioned, and then also leaders at this level of permission, they also observe a lot and they also learn all the time. And they're learning about the organization and what's going on through observation. They involved there. They're like, there's a saying, listen to the grasshoppers jump, meaning your ears right on the ground at the lowest level in the organization, interacting with people, as Lisa says, to understand what is actually going on. So you're learning through observation. And also, you're creating a culture based on good relationships. You are leading by example. You're creating a culture of camaraderie in the organization. So by doing this, you begin to gain influence because of very positive and healthy relationships. So now at level 2, you are on the beginning of your leadership journey. Now it's imperative that you don't stop developing yourself. And if you are at level 2 and you recognize level 2, even if it's with your children as a parent, you've got to have a goal now to move up. And the goal is this. You've got to establish mutual respect. Mutual respect. Not commanding or demanding that people respect you. You need to treat everybody with the utmost respect. And it doesn't matter who they are. So I always say, you can tell a lot about a person the way they treat a waitress. Some people treat a waitress really badly. They're just rude. Some people treat a waitress with so much gratitude, appreciation, and the utmost respect. That person probably has good relationship with everyone. The same as a cleaner. I don't know where you work or where you go, even if it's in a shopping center or you go into the public bathroom in an airport or a shopping center, greet the cleaner with the utmost respect. Practice that habit when you think you're more important than someone. No, everybody must be of value. So, good leaders value people. You want to write this down? That's how they are good leaders. They value people. And 2, they add value to people. They're always trying to help them. Like that GM I said, used to come around to our desk saying, What can I do to support you? What do you need to be more successful? Do you have all the resources you need? Do you have enough support and help? That is adding value to me. So you need to first of all value people, and then you need to add value. And listen, some people I've heard, I've even had people as coaching clients or in masterminds or privately speak to me, and they tell me they're struggling in the workplace, and they eventually spit out without realizing it, unaware, that they actually don't like people. Well, you cannot be a successful leader unless you force yourself to value everybody, even the man on the sleeping in the street. I can promise you, if you went and sat for 5 minutes only with anybody who sleeps on the street and asked some good and effective questions, you would learn something from them. Something, you would. Everybody has value. It's a perception, how we view them, that we need to be very conscious of, that we see people through the eyes of value. So from level 2, the goal is to establish mutual respect and to build genuine positive relationships and build trust, and to be the voice of encouragement. So as a parent, you need to build respect. And the only way to get respect from your children is to treat them with respect. You cannot shout and scream at them and boss them around and treat them like they're just slaves or annoyances, or you've got to treat them with respect, no matter what they're doing and how they're doing it. And the more you treat them with respect, the more they'll respect you. It just is that way. And that goes for any human being. The other thing is to keep your word. If you say you're going to do that, do that. And if you're not, please let the person know so you can continuously build trust. Trust is like a bank account. You got to build it and build it and build it. And when you break trust, the whole bank balance falls down just about to zero. You got to build it up again. Okay, and then encourage. So at level 2, if you want to put a big reminder on your dashboard or on your mirror, you write the word encourage. And every day when you wake up, all you ask yourself is, who can I encourage today? Who can I add value to today? If it's your children, if it's people at work, encourage people. Do not criticize them, encourage them, especially children. You break their spirit if you criticize them. It's a terrible way to live, is to criticize your kids. It's the worst thing ever. You break their spirit and you give them no confidence. Encourage them every day. Keep reminding them that they're fully capable. They can do anything they put their mind to. They can do it. They must just, persist, whatever it is. Okay, then you go to the next level. Now, the next level is level 3, which is production. So production is about results. Now you're at the 3rd level of influence as a leader. And the reason that you have more influence than the other 2 levels is because of your results. And results, remember, are visual. People can see what you've done. So people follow you because of what you have accomplished. And here leaders start to gain real credibility because they're producing tangible results. And they're also setting an example through their own work ethic. So even if it's with your children or with your friends, it doesn't have to be in the workplace. It's exactly the same principle. Because of what you've accomplished, how you execute things, the results that you get in whatever you're doing, and because you're always leading through example, you gain that high level of influence. And the good thing about being at level 3 is that the focus shifts to achieving goals, not just your own, but the whole team, everybody. If it's with your kids, your focus becomes about helping them achieve their goals. So you're trying to make a real impact wherever you go. Your impact is measurable. People cannot deny what you've produced. And because of the results, team morale is higher because they see this progress that you're making and they see the success. And you know what? Everybody wants a bite of success. I can tell you in corporate, you know, if you were ever in a position where you could make change in the organization and there was one division, another division, but you saw a highly successful division with an amazing leader, you'd want to work there. That's proof. You want to follow that person. They have more influence because of their results. The next thing is level 4. This is a very high level of leadership. Now the whole focus shifts from you completely, to them. It's all about them. You wake up, it's about them. You go to work, it's about them. You go to sleep at night, it's about them. Everything is about people development. What you're trying to do is what John Maxwell calls reproduction. Reproduction means you are raising up other leaders. You are developing leaders. And people follow you at level 4 because what you have done for them. What you've done for them. So if I look back on my corporate career, as in corporate for 20 years, the people who stand out just like that, they could have been my boss, they could have been a support role, not my boss. But there are some people I'll never forget because what they did for me. I'll give you a small example. All the things you wrote in the chat box about empathy, caring, compassion, I'll tell you this example. I was 26 years old. I was working in catering. My grandmother had cancer. And the day I found out, I was obviously very upset at work. And my boss noticed and said, like, what's the matter? Something's wrong. I said, I just got a phone call. My grandmother's got cancer and she's just been admitted to the big hospital there in Cape Town. I was working in Johannesburg. Do you know what she said? She said, that's it. Pack your stuff, go home, pack a bag. I'm going to organize, listen to this. I'm going to organize a flight for you this afternoon. You'll get to Cape Town and a hired car will be waiting for you at the airport. You're paying for nothing. I'll put this to the company. You go and take 7 days and you go spend it with your family and with your grandmother. And I said, but I've got this. She goes, you just forget about everything you've got to do. I'll take care of it. This is my boss. Her name's Fiona. I'll never forget. Still to this day, I'll never forget. I was gobsmacked. In fact, it was the first time in my life, I think, through work, I had a hired car. I never had to even pay for it. And true as nuts, she phoned her secretary. That person called me. And the next thing, I was at the airport. My bag was packed. I was at the airport. I got a flight. And I went to see my grandmother. That's what she did for me. Do you know that after that incident, I would walk over red hot coals for this woman for the rest of my life? She could call me up right now at 2 a.m. and ask me something. And I'd say, for you, Fiona, I'll do anything. That's leadership. That's an example. It's got nothing to even do with work. But she cared. She had compassion. She listened. She had empathy. And you know what? That's how she dealt with something in my personal life. If I have to tell you what she did for me in my work life, all she tried to do was make me successful. Try to make me earn a Catering Manager of the Year award. I promise you, telling me to do this and do that, whatever she could do. So this is what people development is. So what it is at this level is leaders don't spend time, they invest time. You may want to write that down. You actually invest that time. You're putting time into people because there's a return on that investment. The more you pour into people, the more successful you make them. The more successful they are, the better the results that you create in your team or your division or in your family with your children. If you invest time with your kids, that's different to spending time with your kids. You can spend time with your kids and watch a movie. You can spend time with your kids kicking a ball in a park. Yeah, that's great. But you sit down with your child and ask powerful questions. What's going on in their life? What challenges do they have with their friendships? What challenges do they have at school? Is there something bothering them? Is there anything you could do to help them be more successful or more confident? Is there any area of your life that's anything, or you notice that they're a little bit quiet and you check in with them? This is investing time as opposed to spending time. And of course, mentoring. Mentoring is major. And always telling the person, I'm here for you. If there's anything you need or any questions you have, please come and ask me at any time, especially with your kids. The most beautiful thing ever is to have your child come to a parent and say, I've got this big thing that happened, and mom or dad, you're the first person I'm going to tell. That is the greatest honor. That is the most indicative example of trust and leadership. They said, this big thing's happened and you're the first person I'm telling this to. It means they trust you and they want to confide in you. Because if they don't have that relationship with their parent, we know. They go talk to their friend and another friend and someone else. And they don't tell their parents. They deliberately hide the information from their parents. The very opposite. They hide the truth. The only reason why people hide the truth is what? Fear. They're too afraid to tell the truth. So great leaders never let a person feel fear. That's not leadership. That's an autocratic manager. But with a leader, you never have fear. It's the very opposite. You have complete inspiration and the willingness to do anything for them and the freedom to go and tell them it's a safe space. I can tell this person anything because they don't criticize, they don't condemn. They listen with an empathetic ear, as you guys put in the chat there. And all they're trying to do is help. So it's about empowering others at this level to become leaders themselves. So people development at level 4, if I had to relate this to one of John Maxwell's best-selling books, which is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, Law 20 is the law of explosive growth. And that is leaders raising up other leaders. So there's a difference here. You can become a leader yourself, level 1, level 2, even level 3. You can become that leader because you have followers. But when you get to level 4, it's completely different. You don't get followers. You are training and developing other leaders. There's a difference. You're not making the people who follow you. You're making the people who follow you become great leaders themselves. So you are trying to make clones of your leadership and what you've learned. You pour into them. That's when you invest that time into them to help their leadership go up. So the best thing you can do to go from level 3 to level 4 is take a book like this and take the team through a mastermind. Let them develop the leader within them. And you, as their boss, or even if it's in your family, this is a great book even for a family member or your kids, is because you are sharing the qualities of great leadership and helping them become that. So you're making people become something greater than they currently are. And what this does is you're continuously nurturing and developing the potential in other people. So your mind at level 4 on people development is unlocking more of other people's potential. If it's your children, the same way. You believe in them, you encourage them, you tell them they've got unlimited potential. And then you create this culture of growth and advancement. And culture is visible. You know, I just want to say this, I really love this saying. John Maxwell says, culture eats vision for breakfast. In other words, you can have this grand vision. You can have, if you incorporate this whole PowerPoint presentation of this vision, you have this amazing vision. Even if it's in your own family, this is what we want to do, this is what we're going to become, this is what we're going to create. But culture eats vision for breakfast, he says. What is culture? It's how the leader behaves. Not the people, the leader. Because the leader creates the culture. Culture flows down like water down a mountain. It never flows up. The culture is never bottom up. The culture is always, always top down, and it's modeled behavior. So one of the other laws of John Maxwell and the 21 laws is the law of the picture, which says people do what people see. So leaders model behavior. So think about children. Everyone knows that, you probably know, I train Love Yourself, Heal Your Life 2-day workshop. So people come to heal your life, often to heal the inner child wounds or to heal trauma in their life or to maybe start releasing anger that's been trapped within them, they've never expressed it, or maybe guilt or maybe fear. And why do they have all this that they have to work on? Because they learned from their parents. Their parents modeled that behavior. That's law 13. People do what people see. If people never saw their parents cry, they don't cry. If people see their parents shut down when there's trouble, they shut down. If people see their parents scream and shout when they're angry, they scream and shout. Leadership is parenting, and in corporate it's the same. And how you behave is called culture. And it's quite funny that the word culture, by the way, comes from the word cult. That's the original source root word. And it really is about behavior. So what you're doing at level 4 with reproduction through people development is you're creating a culture of growth, positive, healthy growth and advancement for the team. Now, when you get to level 4, your goal now is to multiply leadership by empowering and training others to develop and step into leadership roles. So there you're raising up leaders. That's your goal. You have no other goal. It's not about your success anymore. It's not about your accolades and whatever level you're going to get and the bottom line you're going to create. It's not about that. It's about multiplying leadership, developing other leaders, training other leaders, and helping other people take up and step into other leadership roles, even if it's your children. Help them take leadership roles even at school. Encourage them. Show them how to do it. Go through a book with them, whatever it takes. Then you get level 5, which is the pinnacle, the very top. And this is people follow you because of who you are and because of what you represent. Now, this is a very high level of leadership. And you can't actively get there. You can't say, well, I'll do these things like you can at level 4, level 3, level 2, where you can actually actively do things. Here, it's just consistency over your lifetime. It's basically you have created through level 1 to 4 significant influence. And this influence of yours goes beyond your organization. If it's in your family, this influence goes beyond your family. It could be in your community, in clubs, in volunteering, in your church, whatever it is, but it goes beyond. And what it does is you create a lasting legacy. So when you die, people will talk about you in a different way to just someone who dies because you've created a legacy. Whatever you've done and lived, you've passed and poured into people to change them to do the same and pass on and point to other people and change them for them to pass on and point. That is the legacy. So you've actually inspired excellence in people, and very often in the workplace you've actually positively influenced not just your organization but the industry. So it's, if it's not in that way, it can be in your community. And reaching this level requires a lifetime of pure dedication and also, very importantly, a lifetime of personal self-development. You have to be growing every day yourself as a person, because if you don't, you'll never have the ability to inspire others on a continuous basis. And the goal here is to lead in a way that inspires respect, leaves a lasting legacy, and creates an enduring positive impact. So those are the levels of leadership. Are there any questions from anyone? And was this interesting at all or helpful in any regard? I hope it was. And I didn't, I just think leadership is really every area of life. It doesn't matter who you are. You're a leader with your friends, you're leader with your partner, because everyone, every minute of every day is trying to influence another human being. Whether that's a friend, whether that's your child to, I don't know, put your socks and shoes on, we're leaving. Even that is an opportunity to influence. So everything we do is about leadership. And I just want to share this. In the 21 laws of leadership, law number 1 is called the law of the lid. And if you just see my hands here, John Maxwell says the law of the lid, which is the very first law, it says, how well you lead determines how successful you are. I've got that as a slide in this deck somewhere. How well you lead determines how successful you are. So it doesn't matter what you're doing with your life. It doesn't matter what role you're in. It doesn't matter if you're working or staying at home as a mom or a father. It doesn't matter what age you are. You could be 10. You could be 90. How well you influence people, how well you lead as a leader, a real leader, determines how successful you are. So if your leadership, if you see my hands, is only a 5 out of 10, even if you get a team under you in corporate of 9 out of 10, qualified, successful, and capable people, they can't do any more than a 5 out of 10 because your leadership is their lid too. Not just yours, theirs as well. So if you have a boss, you know this. If you've had a boss with a low leadership lid, but you had very good leadership, you can't work for them. You get stuck under that low lid and you have to step out and go somewhere else to go where you can respect another leader. Because if they say, this is law number 7 of the 21 laws, leaders can only follow leaders they respect. They can only follow leaders stronger than themselves. So if you're not a greater leader than your people and your leadership lid is not higher than them, you'll lose them. They'll resign and go work for someone else who's got a higher leadership lid than you, meaning a better leadership ability. So it's imperative, especially if you are in corporate, to continuously focus and develop your leadership because it's going to determine your success. And this is law. It's not opinion, John Maxwell's opinion, my opinion. It applies to everybody in all industries and all cultures at all times in all of history. So that's why it's significantly important. Someone wrote in the chat box here. Hate to be political thinking about the US election candidates right now. Talk. Yeah, I don't want to talk about politics. Thank you, Richard. It's something you'll never hear come out of my mouth. In fact, I'm ignorant in that category because I don't watch the news deliberately. Someone will tell me if it's important enough. All right, so let's just carry on here. So I've got a couple of options for people if you want to develop your leadership. Just to tell you, if you work in corporate, I run corporate masterminds, and I'm offering a 1-hour free leadership training to your organization. It's called a lunch and learn. All you need to do is ask, would you like a free, inspiring, free leadership training for about an hour during lunchtime? It's free. Let people come. I will be doing a presentation in that hour on what? I'll be doing a presentation on developing the leader within you, 2.0, the new version. And I'll add value to everyone. And I'll leave people learning something, being able to apply what they've learned. It's simple. You just have to apply it. If people like it, I'll provide a one-question questionnaire at the end, which says, do you think, obviously share a snippet of everything from this book, all the 21 laws, but I'll share enough to give value. If you find this content, do you think it'll make you more effective in your role? And if people answer that questionnaire, when I collect them, if the answers are all yes, then we can discuss potentially running a corporate mastermind. So these are just some of the places that I've done it. If this is something you're interested in, you can put privately in the chat box to myself or Nancy, or wherever you want, you can post it. Just put yes, LNL for lunch and learn. Do you want this free 1 hour? There's no obligation. You don't have to have the corporate mastermind. You don't have to buy anything. I'm not selling anything. Would you like the free 1 hour leadership? If I add value and you want to continue learning more, I'll make the mastermind available. If you don't find it valuable, you've lost nothing. And if you don't want to go ahead, also you've lost nothing. So I can only do 2 in a month. So if you're interested in this, please just drop it in the chat or send me a text. Okay. The next thing I want to ask you all is this. Oh, here's some testimonials. This is just from Revlon. They did the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. They said they'd recommend it. They liked it. This is from the senior HR Pacific manager. Blue Label Telecoms is a massive company in South Africa, big like Vodafone. And we did, how many, Nancy? We did 1, 2, 3, 4 this 1 year and 6 masterminds with this company. And we're going to continue working with them. And they got so much out of it. They put their emerging leaders through the program. So it was great. And then Vodafone, I did a leadership mastermind with their executive team, and they really liked it. They found it very actionable, very practical. There's nothing airy-fairy about it. And people did all say that it not only affected their professional life, but also made them better in their personal lives. And then obviously Nielsen, when I was there, I did several masterminds. Some, of course, when I was working there, I did them for free. And later on, did work for them. And also people enjoyed the leadership, not just, again, professional, but your personal life as well. So here it is. How well you lead determines how successful you are. There's the man himself. What an honor and a privilege to have known him in my lifetime is all I can say. He's just unbelievable, this man. So here's the wrap up. These are all the levels from the position. People follow you because they have to. The next one is permission. People follow you because they want to. Production, you're making results. People follow you because of what you've done for the organization. Level 4, very high level. People follow you because of what you have done for them. And then remember, you can't try and do things for people if you're not successful yourself. Okay, you've got to go up this chain, because if you don't have results of your own track record, you don't have respect. There are many reasons why people respect you, and one of them is your own success. So if you're a failure and you try and pour into people at level 4, it's not going to work. You have to go up the levels in this order. And then, of course, over a lifetime, you can get to level 5. So I'm also offering a limited offer, a one-on-one, not a group, but a one-on-one 12-week mastermind to go through the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. None of you people who have been in my community since 2016 have ever had me go through this book. I've never done it before. I've only done Developing the Leader Within You. And this is the best-selling leadership book in the world. It sold the most copies, and in the Fortune 500, they call this book the Leadership Bible. Now, why I'm offering this as a mastermind, as a coaching program one-on-one, is because of this. You can read this book. There's no doubt about it. Anyone can read the book. But to mastermind the book in your own circumstances, your own challenges, and your own life is a completely different experience, and you're held accountable week in and week out of applying what you've learned. So at the end, we always talk about the act. What are you going to action? C, what you're going to change. You've got to change something to grow. And T, who you're going to teach it to. And you have these actions every week on every single law. So you're going through this, and you're going through it with the coach. And I'm a certified John Maxwell coach. So if you're interested in this, all I can tell you is I'll just talk about my last role in corporate, in Nielsen for 5 years. And I produced results. I was at level 3. They never promoted me. I didn't understand, because I was at a higher level in South Africa before I immigrated. And I did ask in my individual development process that you have when you talk to your boss every quarter. And it just never, ever happened for me. Until I joined the John Maxwell team. That was in 2012. In 2013, I was in Orlando with John. I had to read this book 4 times before I could attend the event. Those were the rules back then. And I had to know the laws off by heart. So I learned them. And I had to apply what I was learning. Well, I was so poured into that I came back from that event, and I offered the masterminds out of work for free. And I ran mastermind after mastermind after mastermind, not just with them, but with other companies in South Africa, even with people in France, in the US, the people who joined as well. And I was then promoted to director. And when they read out my bio for getting the promotion, the only thing they mentioned was Jeanine has something along the lines of has incredible ability of developing other leaders, which is like a standout. So that was level 4. So you can see, just from learning this book, my career shifted massively to be selected for director role. It wasn't because of who I was before. It was because of reading this book and applying what I'd learned. So leadership absolutely determines your success. There is no doubt about it. 2 things: how you communicate and how you lead. That determines your success. If you can be very good at those 2 things, you'll be successful in anything. It doesn't matter what it is that you do. You can even be selling pencils. You'll be successful. So for anyone, including parents, if anyone's interested in this, please contact me, and I'll take you through this book. It's a phenomenal book. It changed my life. And then I want to ask the group here, I'm not promising I will, I just want to know, from an expression of interest, would anyone like to join a small group mastermind of about 10 people and go through this book in 2025. I didn't have it in my calendar this year. I don't even know if I think I had it in the calendar the year before in 2023, just because I am limited in what I can do with my time and how many events and masterminds I can run in a year. So if I don't get enough expressions of interest in this, then I'll run another one that people are more interested in. I know the Think and Grow Rich Masterclass was a huge success. I mean, we had enormous participation there. So I could do a different thing next year. I could do As a Man Thinketh as a master class, which is very different to a mastermind, or another one about money again, the science of getting rich or something along those lines, or something to do with Louise Hay. But if anyone's interested in developing the leader as a mastermind, please put a Y in the chat. And if you don't put it in. And if you watch this as a recording, because a lot of people watch the recording, please, you got to get hold of me. You just write to admin. I'll put it in the chat box. Or Nancy, you can type it, admin@JanineShakaInternational.com, and just say, I would be interested. Just an expression of interest. And we might send out an email saying, if I ran this, would you be interested? It's not a commitment, but I just want to know, is there interest in doing this as a small group mastermind with about 10 people? That's it, next year. Okay, just to see that I serve the community correctly. I don't want to offer you something that you don't want. And if you don't want it, please let me know what you do want. If you had to prioritize something else, what would it be about? I know the Science of Getting Rich is a phenomenal program, and I'm willing to do something on that. I've got or As a Man Thinketh, or something completely new from Louise Hay. So we just got that in the busy mulling that over, basically. All right, we've got a few people in the chat who wrote here. Okay. And then just for these people who've written here, if you wanted a free talk, okay, I'll talk about that, Meg. Thank you for asking. For those people who wrote yes here, if you did want a free talk for an organization, whether yours or someone else, or you know people, maybe you've got friends, also let me know. Thank you. I've got a question here from Meg saying, I know it's a stupid question. How do we benefit from silver mastery? All right, so this subject is changing quickly for a second. Silver mastery, let me just jump to that slide so it makes sense for people. Okay. This is only for silver graduates, please. If anyone's listening to this, I'll repeat, it's only for silver graduates and graduates of Silver Life and Intuition System. Mind Valley class, not manifesting, not dynamic healing, only Silver Life and Intuition System graduates. If you are a graduate, Silver Mastery is with Ken Kosher. Ken Kosher is the longest serving silver trainer in the world. In fact, he's trained the program longer than Jose. He worked with Jose in the early days. He was trained by Jose. He traveled the world with Jose. And over time, he developed this course with completely different techniques. It's got nothing, they're not any of the same, they're not any techniques you've learned in silver 4-day. You have to be a graduate, because when Ken trains, he just starts speaking from, for example, in this next exercise, you're going to put in your white frame, blah, 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 and you've got to know what the white frame is. Or you're going to go to level and you're going to pair up with a partner, and you're going to ask your counselors in your lab about the other person. We actually do that. You've got to know what a lab is, you've got to know what counselors are, and you've got to know what it means to go to level. So you've got to be a graduate. What is the benefits of this? Let me just say this, Meg. I can't explain exactly every exercise, but this course has been endorsed by Silver International. So Silver International only endorsed the Silver Method, nothing else. And this one product or training class of Ken's, and these methods or exercises have all come from Jose, but Jose never trained them. They're all advanced. Everything in this course is advanced. Ken was in Australia back in 2020, I think, and at that stage we had a smaller office and was completely packed right to the back wall. We had 31 people, and we had raving reviews. It was absolutely exceptional. I've set this class, so has Nancy. I don't know if anyone else here has. All I can say is it takes your whole silver method to another level, and you learn completely different techniques. and you do age regression, you do going forward in time, like beyond what you can imagine, and you get some really incredible results from that. You do a lot of different exercises, pairing up with other people. You can only know the value of this through pair up with someone else, and you go into your level and you use your own intuition, knowing nothing about the other person, but you go through an exercise where you have to ask about the other person and how they can be more successful or resolve their problem or whatever it is, and you've heard nothing from them, zero, and you come out and you've got all this information, you share it. It's unbelievable. It's so accurate. So it's very different. And Kenny's an amazing person, and it's the very last time he's coming to Australia, and he's retiring soon. He's in his 70s now. And all I can say is this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. If I was in your shoes, I would do anything to attend. The seats are limited, so please just book. The early bird prices date has changed. The early bird is not ending on the 18th of January. It's a typo, it's an error. It's ending on the 18th of December. So please, if you want to book Silver Mastery, please book now, as soon as possible, to get the early bird. And please book in. If you're even thinking about it, don't hesitate. You will not be disappointed. And there on the screen is the QR code. The QR code is just a link. There's no information there. It's just a link to pay and get in. So if you want more information, please read the emails. You would have got one. If you're a silver graduate, you would have got Nancy sent out emails, I sent out emails. Please read the content in there. You can go to Ken's website if you want to read what he's written there himself about Silver Mastery. But this is a once in a lifetime. This opportunity is not going to come again. It's the very, very, very last one. And there's no, at the moment, successor who's going to teach this program. So if you want to do it and you're thinking of doing it, please do it. Do not miss this. The Silver Method is the most powerful personal development program in the world, and this is the next level. This is mastery. Thank you. All right. All right. Are there any questions? Otherwise, just to share these other events that you know what's going on. We've got the Silver Method 4-day Life and Intuition Immersion for the rest of the year. This is the last one coming up this month on the 21st of November. There are a few spots left, so if you want to book, please do. Heal Your Life, the last event for the year. It's usually amazing. I don't know why, but so far, December Heal Your Lives have been the best ever. This will be I've had two in the past, 2 Decembers. It's really the best. I don't know because at the end of the year, December, what it is, but please, if you want to do this, please book in. The early bird ends very, very soon. Don't know what the date is today, but it's just like 2 weeks or so left. All right. Are there any questions up to here? Just let me know. Otherwise, we're going to have a meditation. Oh, just to remind you, if you want rapid results coaching, you can contact me to remove a block of any sort. Okay, for those of you who are new, please grab a pen and a blank paper. Just run and get that quickly because you're going to answer some questions at the very end of the meditation. And if you're not new, you know what to do. So I'll put some music on. And then just find a comfortable position. And what we're going to do is we're going to set your intention for the month of November. So you get the most out of this month. So you know what to focus on. And you're going to get all that direction from your own intuition, or you can call your higher self, or any name that you want. Okay. All right, everybody, if you got ready with a pen and paper, try to move as little as possible. So just put your hand and pen in a position that is easy for you just to write. And then once you finish writing, you can immediately just close your eyes and go back into meditation. All right, find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and leave your cameras on if you can, so I can see if you're writing, so I know when to pause. Take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, and relax your body and just release any tension or pressure from the top of your head all the way down to your toes. Just take another few deep belly breaths. And just consciously relax your body. Relax your shoulders, because we hold tension in our shoulders. Just relax those shoulders all the way down your arms and hands. And just continue to breathe deeply, slowly and rhythmically as you relax. And just feel the tension leaving your back, your hips, your thighs, your knees, your calves, all the way down to your feet. Experience this nice deep state of relaxation. In this very relaxed state, I'd like you to create in your mind just an ideal place of relaxation. It can be real or imagined, either somewhere that you've been, or maybe somewhere that you'd like to go, or just a simple place as lying on your bed. Just a place where you feel totally relaxed. Now just begin to experience that place right now as if you are actually there. And now that you have experienced your ideal place of relaxation, you're going to add a waterfall of white light into the scene. So place it wherever you choose. This waterfall is gentle, allowing you to stand under the cascading white light. This light is a healing energy, a clearing energy. Your waterfall of white light is now created. Walk over to the waterfall and stand under the white healing light. And just allow it to pour over you and swirl around you, encompassing you within its glow. And while you're doing that, you can just feel it clearing the stress, the tension, the clutter away. It's actually clearing your energy field, your aura. And as this beautiful white light clears your energy field, just notice how much happier you look. Just notice the smile on your face and see how all the weights that you've been carrying are no longer a burden. Just notice how your energy field is expanding out as you are radiating love. This waterfall of white light is always available to you whenever you need it. All you need to do is just close your eyes And imagine your ideal place of relaxation and immerse yourself in this healing white light. Now take a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, just relax even deeper. And repeat these statements to yourself mentally. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts and images bring me benefits I desire. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. Now I want you to imagine that white light turns to green. You are now immersed in a beautiful glowing green light. This green light is unconditional love. It surrounds you. It encompasses you. It flows through your entire being. It fills you with love. All the hurts you felt, all the pain you felt, all the disappointments, the angry moments, the frustrations, the sad moments. Allow this green light, this unconditional love, to just fill and heal all those spaces now. Just imagine it. You are an amazing human being. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve abundance, and you deserve peace. You are the only person who can give that to yourself. And that is the only way you can ever receive it from others. It is now time to step out of your waterfall. And as you step out of the waterfall of light, your energy field is now clean and clear. You feel centered and calm. And you feel the flow of universal love and energy. Just enjoy this feeling of connectedness. And now that you've reset your body and mind for the month ahead, it is now time to set your intention for the month of November, the month ahead. So I'm going to count from 10 to 1, and as I count in a descending numbers, you will feel yourself tuning in to your own inner wisdom, your higher self, your intuition, just that part of you that when you tuned in, guides you and intuitively knows what is best for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are now tuned in to your own intuition or your higher self, your inner wisdom that intuitively knows what is best for you. I'm going to ask you some questions now, and I just want you to write down your very first impressions. If you feel like you're making it up, that's the correct feeling. Write whatever comes to mind down. Do not read it or analyze it. You can do that at the end. Just write it down and then close your eyes and go back to meditation. Only write down your first impressions. The first question, ask yourself, what do I need to focus on for the month of November? Take your time. Don't feel rushed. What do I need to focus on for the month of November? And then close your eyes and re-enter the meditation. Relax. And now for the next question. What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? Whatever comes to mind, write it down. Do not analyze it, just write it down. And then take a deep breath, close your eyes, and re-enter your calm state. So what steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? And just relax. The next question, what do I need to let go of? Write down anything that comes to mind, even if you feel like you're making it up. What do I need to let go of? And then take a deep breath and relax. And the next question is, what do I need to embrace? Just write down your first impression. And last question. Is there anything else? Is there anything else I need to know? Is there anything else I need to do? Is there anything else? And allow a deep breath and relax. And slowly bring your attention back to your body. And wriggle your fingers, wriggle your toes, and stretch. Just stretch out. Stretch, 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 stretch up. Arms up and stretch out. And the count of 3, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. Feeling better than before. 1, 2, 3. Eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. Feeling better than before. Alrighty. I'm going to stop the recording